All right, let's talk about love. Not the fairy tale, not the Hollywood version where everything magically works out in the end, but real love. The kind that makes you overthink a text, that makes you second guess if someone actually likes you, or maybe even makes you push people away without realizing it. Why does love feel so easy for some people and so complicated for others? Why do some people have healthy, balanced relationships while others keep ending up in toxic cycles? A huge part of that answer is hidden in your past. See, when you were a kid, before you even knew what a relationship was, your brain was already figuring out how love works. The way your parents, or whoever raised you, treated you, that became your first model of love. If they were emotionally available, consistent, and made you feel safe, love became something secure in your mind. If they were distant, unpredictable, or even harsh, love became something that felt like a struggle. And here's the crazy part. That model, that blueprint, sticks with you. It's like muscle memory for relationships. Your brain takes what it learned from childhood and applies it to every close relationship you have, romantic, friendships, even how you handle conflict at work. You're basically running a love program that was installed in you before you even had a choice. This is what psychologists call attachment theory, and once you understand it, it's like unlocking a cheat code for relationships. Because suddenly, all those confusing behaviors, why you get anxious when someone pulls away, why you shut down when things get too serious, why you keep picking emotionally unavailable partners, start to make sense. There are 4 main ways people attach to others, and once you hear them, you'll start recognizing them in yourself and everyone around you. First, we've got secure attachment. These people hit the relationship jackpot. If your parents were consistently loving, supportive, and emotionally available, you probably grew up feeling safe and confident in relationships. You don't overthink a text, you trust your partner, and you're able to communicate your needs without freaking out. You don't feel the need to chase love or run from it. It just feels natural. But not everyone got that experience. If your parents were unpredictable, sometimes warm and loving, sometimes cold and distant, you might have developed anxious attachment. That means relationships feel like emotional roller coasters. You crave closeness, but you also constantly worry about being abandoned. You overanalyze messages, you need a lot of reassurance, and sometimes, even when things are going well, you feel this deep anxiety, like something's about to go wrong. You might even start fights just to get attention, because sometimes conflict feels better than being ignored. On the other end of the spectrum, we have avoidant attachment. If you had parents who weren't emotionally available or discouraged deep conversations, you probably learned early on that relying on people isn't safe. As an adult, that translates to keeping your distance in relationships. You might enjoy dating, but the second things get too serious, you feel the need to pull away. You don't like being too dependent on anyone, and opening up feels uncomfortable, like a trap. Then there's the most complicated one, disorganized attachment. This usually comes from a chaotic or traumatic childhood, where love felt both desirable and dangerous at the same time. If this is you, you might feel like you want deep connection, but the second you get it, you panic. 1 minute, you're craving closeness, the next, you're pushing people away. It's like you can't decide if love is something you want or something you need to protect yourself from. Now, here's the thing. These attachment styles don't just disappear when you grow up. They follow you into every relationship you have. If you grew up feeling like love was something you had to earn, you'll probably end up chasing partners who make you feel like you're never enough. If you learned that people leave, you might either cling too hard or push them away before they get a chance to abandon you. And if you were taught that feelings aren't safe, you might struggle to open up even when you really want to. But the good news is this isn't permanent. You're not stuck. Your attachment style isn't a life sentence. It's just a pattern your brain learned, and anything learned can be unlearned. The first step? Awareness. Just realizing what your patterns are gives you power over them. Instead of just reacting to your emotions, you can start questioning them. Why do I freak out when someone doesn't text back? Why do I avoid deep conversations? Why do I only feel interested in people who don't want me? Once you start noticing these patterns, you can begin to change them. If you have anxious attachment, work on self-soothing instead of seeking constant reassurance. If you're avoidant, challenge yourself to be vulnerable, even if it's uncomfortable. If you're disorganized, take things slow and remind yourself that love doesn't have to be chaotic. And honestly, the people you surround yourself with matter. If you're anxiously attached and you keep dating people who pull away, it's just reinforcing your worst fears. But if you choose a partner who's patient, consistent, and secure, you can actually rewire your brain over time. You start learning that love can be safe. Healing doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. Your childhood may have shaped you, but it doesn't have to define you. You get to decide what love looks like for you now. So, what do you think? Do you recognize your attachment style in the way you love? Let's talk in the comments.